Okay, you're all set to start the meeting.
Great. Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for
for
all.
all. Roll call, please.
Trustee Cheney?
Here.
Trustee Lindbergh?
Here.
Mayor Newhart?
Here.
Trustee Bachman?
Here.
Trustee McManus?
I'm here.
Mike Mosier?
Here.
Stephen Gaba?
Present.
Trustee Lindbergh? Sorry, I have a typo.
Pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 202.1, Village of Warwick meetings will be conducted virtually through Zoom video conference until further notice. To view the meeting YouTube live, the public may view the meeting live live on the Village of Warwick, New York's YouTube channel or the Village's website. The public may view the meeting a day or so after it's completed by going to the Village's website, villageofwarwick.org. And to comment during privilege of the floor only via email or mail, comments may be sent to the Village Board prior to the Village Board meeting via email to clerk@villageofwarwick.org or mail Village of Warwick. Attention, Village Clerk, Post Office Box 369, Warwick, New York 10990. Please indicate in your correspondence that you wish to have your comments read during privilege of the floor. So may I have a motion to accept the reports May 2021, the Clerk's Office, the Justice Office and Building and Planning?
So
moved.
Discussion, please.
Sure.
Discussion. Yeah, one of the things that came up at the last meeting, we had a discussion about notices of violation, and I would ask that we consider having the building department report include on a monthly basis when the report's done, a listing of the active notice of violations with the current status so that we're all up to date on that.
I think it's a good idea. Steve, do you want to chime in on that?
No, I think it's a fine idea. I think allow you to keep tabs on where you stand as far as outstanding violations and what's being done to clean them up and so forth.
Mhm. Any other thoughts, Mike? What do you think about that as a co-building inspector?
Yeah, I think anything he has open, you guys should be aware of. So,
Yeah, instead of just waiting for the tough ones. George, any thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea.
Good. And Bill?
Yes, absolutely.
And Corey?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that doesn't have to be a motion or anything. That's just a request that in his report that he include that information.
That's correct.
So we have a second to accept those reports. All in favor?
Aye.
And may I have a motion to accept the minutes of May 17th, 2021 and May 20th, 2021?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And a motion for authorization to pay all approved and audited claims, the amount of $279,101.37.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And under correspondence this evening, we have a letter of resignation from part-time village court attendant bailiff Grace Giulini. And sorry to see Grace leave. She was a wonderful bailiff and has been with us for a pretty good period of time. So you'll see in motions that there is a motion to go out to advertise for a new bailiff. So on privilege of the floor, we do have one letter or email that came to us, and it's to the board regarding the petition of Village View to annex 0.6 acres of town property into the village. In a letter to the board, counsel for Village View stated they would consider putting a restrictive covenant in place for their town property, but only if the special use permit is approved. The two matters should be assessed on their own merits and the impact each will have on the village. Since the vote on the special use permit has not occurred, we ask the board to vote no on the annexation petition. Thank you, Raymond and Eugene Meyer. George or Steve, do you have any comment on that in terms of?
Well, there was some desire to have a restrictive covenant placed on the rest of the property that Village View owns in the town, saying they would never be annexed into the village. How connected that was as a an enforceable condition with the annexation of 0.6 acres into the village is a debatable point, but it was something that the town and the village had wanted, and Village View agreed to it, but they attached a string saying, well, we'll agree to this restrictive covenant if we get approval for the density bonus lots or units that we want. How acceptable that string is to the village and the town, I mean, that's for the boards to decide on their own, whether that's a deal breaker or if it's enough good faith that if they don't get the density bonus units, they probably won't be looking to either go forward with it or maybe not annex any more property. And I don't know. These are decisions that you need to make. I'll tell you right now, I mean, when you look at the legal requirements for approving an annexation, saying that you can't annex more land into municipality as a condition of approving it is going out on a limb a little bit. I mean, unless you have some really, really strong reasons for it. I mean, the other annexation would have to be considered on its merits. There's a whole number of considerations, not the least of which would, of course, be SEQR review that would go into it. So, I mean, I'm not saying the board can't say that's a deal breaker. We won't accept the condition with that string attached. But legally, I think you'd have to really do your homework and put some thought into it before you make a determination like that and deny the annexation based on, gee, here we'll give you the condition, but the restrictive covenant, but only if we get this approval.
Am I correct in understanding when it comes to village versus town, because of the services, the greater extent of services that are offered on village lands, that in essence creates a threshold?
Yes, once there are three considerations in any, besides SEQR, three considerations in any annexation: the impact on the receiving municipality, the impact on the donating municipality, and the impact on the property that's being annexed. In the case of an annexation into a village, the impact is almost always salutary because for the property, because the property is going to be receiving central water, or central sewer, or whatever other municipal services being provided by the village, which is not always, obviously, but I mean, often not available in the town that it's being annexed from. So in this case, you'd be weighing the benefit to the property, and clearly there's benefit to the property here, the detriment to the town, and the detriment to the town from losing 0.6 acres is negligible. And the benefit or the detriment to the village in gaining the 0.6 acres, which again, I mean, it does play into the subdivision, so it's something to consider, but 0.6 acres is probably not going to have any substantial impact on anything the village does, fiscally or otherwise.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess what I'm stuck on is why are they conditioned in the motion and tied together when we had two separate public hearings for each of the separate issues, both annexation and the special use permit?
Well, I think, and I don't want to speak for them, you'd have to ask that question to them. But if you'd like my opinion on why they're doing it, it's because they feel that they don't need to legally need to impose the restrictive covenant in the first place. And it's just kind of a benefit that they're providing to the village and the town, and they'd like to get something back out of that. And that something back is to have a little bit of leverage to say, gee, if you want this to go forward, approve our density bonus lots. Now, how much you allow that to affect your decision on the density bonus lots is a whole other question, because it's annexation of 0.6 acres. Really, that's all it does. It shouldn't make or break your decision to grant the density bonus lots. It shouldn't even really play into it very much.
Any other questions for Steve before we move forward?
Could this be, since the sole purpose of this is the obvious immediate sole purpose is to take a sliver of proposed road and put it all within one municipal jurisdiction so that other mechanisms don't have to be done and then renewed. Could this be covered with an intermunicipal agreement and not have the annexation? The maintenance of the road?
It could be, but they wanted it for purposes of their subdivision plan. That's the benefit that they're looking for here.
Well, but I think we also wanted it just so that it was clear that it was under one municipal jurisdiction. The road.
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay. So we'll move forward with motions, and Trustee Cheney.
State of New York, County of Orange, the Town of Warwick, and the Village of Warwick in the matter of the petition of Village View Estates LLC for annexation of land within the Town of Warwick comprised of approximately 0.6 acres of real property identified on the town tax map as Section 43, Block 1, Lot 4.2 into the Village of Warwick. Resolution findings and order of the Village Board of the Village of Warwick. Whereas Village View Estates LLC filed an annexation petition on or about July 31st, 2018, seeking to annex approximately 0.6 acres of real property located in the town into the village, and whereas the land to be annexed is more particularly described in the meets and bounds description attached to the petition for annexation, a copy of which is annexed hereto. And whereas on January 14th, 2020, the Village Board of Trustees of the Village and the Town Board of the town held a joint public hearing as required by General Municipal Law, Article 17, to determine the sufficiency of the petition and whether or not the annexation is in the overall public interest. And whereas the said public hearing was held open until February 25th, 2021, at which time it was closed after all persons wishing to be heard were given an opportunity to speak. And whereas the Planning Board of the Village of Warwick as lead, Planning Board of the Village as lead agency in a coordinated review under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR has completed SEQR review, which encompassed the proposed annexation. And whereas the Village Board has duly considered all of the facts and proof before it in regard to the petition for annexation and has performed the analysis mandated by General Municipal Law, Article 17. Now, therefore, it is hereby found, resolved, and ordered as follows. 1, that the petition is proper in form and complies with Municipal Annexation Law, Section 703, in that it has been duly executed by the owner of the subject property. It was notarized and contains the statutorily prescribed authentication. 2, that the Village Board makes the following findings of fact. A, the property to be annexed consists of approximately 0.6 acres of real property located in the town and is more particularly described in the meets and bounds description attached to the petition for annexation, a copy of which is annexed here too. B, the petitioner is owner of 100% of all the assessed valuation of real property at issue as assessed upon the last preceding assessment roll of the town of Warwick. C, the property to be annexed is vacant land contiguous with the municipal boundary between the town and the village and with property owned by the petitioner within the village. D, the petitioner proposes to use the subject property in development of its land within the village as a residential subdivision. E, the annexation of the said property will allow the petitioner to better manage the development of its land within the village as a residential subdivision. F, the annexation of 0.6 acres of land from the town into the village would not result in any negative impacts on public services. And G, the petitioner has submitted a letter to the village and the town agreeing to impose a deed restriction against the remaining land that it owns in the town, i.e. tax parcel SBLs 31-2-84, 31-2-84.2, 31-2-85.2, 43-1-3, and 43-1-4.2, stating that the petitioner and any future owners of the said parcel shall not petition the village and town of Warwick to annex the parcels into the village, conditioned upon the approval of the annexation and the grant of the petitioner's pending application for a special use permit from the village board. 3, that in weighing the benefit or detriment of the proposed annexation to the village, the town and the property proposed to be annexed, the village board finds that the proposed annexation is in the overall public interest. And 4, that it is hereby ordered that the petition for annexation is granted on condition that the petitioner shall submit for approval and record the aforesaid deed restriction under the terms set forth in the petitioner's offer to do so.
Second.
Raina, roll call.
Trustee Cheney,
Yes.
trustee Lindberg,
Yes.
trustee McManus,
Nay.
trustee Bachman,
Nay.
Mayor Newhart,
Yes.
Number 2, motion to approve payment number 2 in the amount of $37,097.50 to O'Connell Electric for the electrical work associated with the installation of the UV equipment completed as part of the WWTP UV disinfection improvements project per the recommendation of Barton and LaJudas. Funds are appropriated in budget code G.8120.4950 in the 2020-2021 budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3, motion to hire Anthony Lorenzo to the position of seasonal Department of Public Works laborer at a salary of $15 per hour at 40 hours per week for 12 weeks with a start date of June 23rd, 2021 per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Michael Moser.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to grant permission to the Lopez family to provide dedication of a tree in memory of Tom Wogland at Stanley Deming Park near the memorial bench located at the far end of the playground near the stream in coordination with Mayor Newhart, DPW Supervisor Mike Mosier, and Shade Tree Commissioner Robert Sherman.
Second.
Discussion, just want everyone to know that we're getting more and more requests for memorial trees and benches. And so Bill Lindberg has been working to standardize it so that there will actually be a form and a structure of costs. So it's much more consistent. Right now, there is nothing, but these are, I don't believe we should wait until that form is ready, because these folks really would like to see these memorials. But at a certain point, probably within the next month, we will have a more systemized approach to memorials. So we do have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to grant permission to Betsy Bowes to provide dedication of a tree in memory of Cushman May at Stanley Deming Park in coordination with Mayor Newhart, DPW Supervisor Mike Mosher, and Shade Tree Commissioner Robert Sherman.
Second.
And I want to thank George for recognizing that even though there's been conversation, and it has often been called the Roger Metzger Arboretum, there has never been a formal motion to put that in place. And that will happen at the next meeting. But in the meantime, Stanley Deming Park is the right moniker. So thank you, George. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the budget modification and transfer request as per the village treasurer's letter dated June 17th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to grant permission to the Warwick Dance Collective and the Warwick Center for the Performing Arts to use the stage at Stanley Deming Park for the performance of Madagascar Junior on Thursday, July 8th, 2021 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. for rehearsal, and Friday, July 9th, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. for rehearsal, setup, and performance beginning at 6 p.m. Request includes use of electricity for a sound system provided by the applicant, placement of applicant provided porta-johns to be coordinated with DPW Supervisor Mike Mosher. All activities must be in accordance with Governor Cuomo's executive orders, New York State Regional Phase Reopening Plan, New York State and Orange County Departments of Health. Completed park permit, proof of proper insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to advertise for a part-time court attendant bailiff.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to close Park Avenue between Galloway Road and Birch Street on Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021 from 9:15 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Rain date of Thursday, June 24th, 2021 for the benefit of Park Avenue Elementary School picnic and sports day.
Second.
I just want to say it's wonderful to see this on the agenda. This was an event that happened yearly, and it's just welcome back. So it's great to see. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Final comments from the board before we have to go into executive session.
Yeah, I'd just like to bring the board up to date and also the public. Work started today on the new River Street water main. It replaces a 2-inch galvanized line that's installed under the creek bed. The new line will be constructed all the way to the existing water line that originates on West Street and comes into the Jones Chemical Facility, which is one of our customers. This will allow, this new line will allow a loop and a connection near there that will allow continued service to Jones Chemical and also the wastewater treatment plant. Should there be a water main break, elsewhere in the system that's close to these two facilities. The crossing of the Wawayanda Creek will be hung on the House Street Bridge, which was reconstructed by Orange County a few years ago. The construction is expected to take approximately 2 weeks, and it's being done by our DPW staff under the direction of DPW Supervisor Mike Moser. So it's going to be accomplished at a much lower cost than if we had constructed it. Village engineer David Getz will be monitoring the construction as it goes on and will be certifying the construction to the health department. Mike, anything you'd like to add?
No, you covered it pretty well, sir. The men are looking forward to it. We need a project to start moving on for the summer. Last year was a bummer, so yeah, we're moving along. 2 taps done today, the 2 cut-ins for both sides, and we'll start laying pipe if weather permits tomorrow. Otherwise, Wednesday and hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? So may I have a motion to go into executive session to seek confidential advice of counsel?
So moved.
Moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'll send a new meeting invitation to everyone.
Thank you, Mike.